Even if you don't have the money, beg, borrow, or steal, and by all means, go to the theaters, preferably IMAX, and watch this classy, supernatural horror film called The Conjuring Last Rites. I must caution you though, it is not for the faint at heart. This is not medical advice, but do look under your bed before sleeping the night when you have watched this movie, just in case. The Conjuring Last Rites makes you feel and process your fear, gives you the goosebumps in the safe environment of a theater. But hang on, is the theater environment really safe? Because the movie gives you abundant caution in one of its dialogues, which goes like this: when you challenge a demonic, it waits till you are at your most vulnerable and then it strikes you. And let me tell you something. You will be at your most vulnerable when you sit in the ostensibly safe environment of your dark IMAX theater, and then this monster movie will attack you, give you the jump scares, and will certainly strike you with the spirits and the demons. And then you will remember what your mom taught you when you were young. Dar lage to gana gao. Sing when you're scared. If you want to experience that feeling, then run to the theaters and experience The Conjuring Last Rites, because you only live once, and if you survive like I did, then do tell me in the comments if you agree with me. Heck, even the comments section looks haunted to me now, and I will be scared to watch them having watched The Conjuring Last Rites. If you have been a fan and follower of the Conjuring universe, you would know that it all started with the first edition in 2013, and the 2025 edition, The Conjuring Last Rites, is presumably the fourth and the last in the series. There were, of course, some spin off movies like Annabelle and The Nun and so forth, which have also been appreciated by the audience over the years, with even video games made on the characters, which today's children absolutely adore. But have no fear if you haven't watched any of the earlier movies, because Last Rites Edition is a standalone story and is actually based around the real life investigation of paranormal investigators Ed Warren and his wife Lorraine. And that makes it really interesting. These guys had actually worked on over 1,000 cases concerning spirits, demons, and exorcism. So there is some basis to what you see on the screen, and you start doubting your scientific temper, and the movie plants that seed inside you of believing that supernatural horror actually happens in real lives. And then the scary journey begins. The movie starts in 1964 and oddly enough gave me a feeling of the classic 80s Hindi Bollywood movies, where there's a fight scene and a woman is pregnant and finally the child is born with that tweet of the crying of the newborn, and the world changes and the story carries on. And that is exactly how the Last Rites edition begins in 1964, where Ed Warren and Lorraine are in the field investigating a case. Lorraine is pregnant in the final few days, and then the action begins when the demon attacks Lorraine and Ed rushes Lorraine in a vintage car to the hospital. Imagine seeing the demons in the operation theater as you're delivering your baby girl, which mercifully survives. Yes, with that same proverbial tweet of crying of the newborn, and you cut to 1986, 22 years later, and you have sweet little family of Ed Warren and Lorraine, who have now retired, and their baby girl has grown into a pretty young woman called Judy. Patrick Wilson playing the role of Ed Warren and Vera Farmiga playing the role of Lorraine Warren look regal, authoritative, and convincing. Even as a viewer, like everybody else in the movie, they are your last hope, and you count on them for your dear life for what is cast on you as a dark spell of fear and horror in the movie. Mia Tomlinson, playing the role of Judy, the daughter of Ed and Lorraine, also excels in enacting her part. Remember that she was born in an operation theater with a demonic influence, and that has an important connection on how the movie proceeds later. So, a family located in the northern state of Pennsylvania in a small town of West Pittston finds out that their house is haunted, and then the drama begins. So, who you call? Ghostbusters! See, I'm already scared and therefore singing. Nevertheless, Ed Warren's whole family arrives and the house becomes a battleground, a war zone, except that it is not military action, it is an all out war between the Warrens and the spirits and a demon which controls those spirits. What horrible things unfold before you as the Skyfall action happens for the Smurl family whose house is haunted? Will the Smurl family and the Warren family survive? What sacrifices will have to be committed for the Last Rites to be worthy of its name? You will have to find out yourself in the theater. I'm just too scared to tell you everything right away. The music complements the jump scares, which suddenly come out of nowhere. The direction is good by Michael Chavez, and the movie is written intelligently as it runs the stories of the Warrens and the Smurls, the proverbial hunters and the hunted, simultaneously culminating into one. Of course, the movie scares you, and your partner will hold you tight while you will yourself be scared, and that's such a simultaneous warm and a cold feeling. But the movie has some wonderfully crafted moments too, as Tony, who is a young ex-cop and the fiance of Judy, is brought into the equation. Tony, played by Ben Hardy, has done an honest job and really impresses with his dialogue delivery when he tells the story of what happens when a shotgun is pointed to him at his head. For me, the magical moment in the movie which took the cake for me is when our hero family is in the haunted house and preparing to nail down the ghosts, which is a multi-day operation. On the first day, Ed Warren is making pancakes in the morning, and Tony asks him in a grave atmosphere if Ed always makes pancake as a ritual before starting on a new case. The environment is tense because everybody has already been attacked by spirits in the house. Ed looks at Tony with a serious face. There's a gripping silence between them and in the theater as well. And then Ed tells Tony something which made the entire theater burst with laughter. I normally don't laugh out loud in the movies, but I did on this occasion shamelessly and almost fell off my chair. But I won't spoil it for you. If you want to find out Ed's answer to Tony, which had the theater in splits in that grave haunted house no less, you will have to go and watch the movie yourself in the theater. In the end, as the casting rolls on, the movie gives you the footage and talks of real people who experienced all this and of Ed and Lorraine themselves. And trust me, this ploy works. Not a single person gets up to leave. Everybody watches the footage and simultaneously the casting of this wonderfully made movie called The Conjuring Last Rites. Because as they say, डर के आगे जीत है. Bravery is just fear conquered. The cast of Conjuring Last Rites take a bow for a job well done.